All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating book. It's all about using a pretty unique ritual to explore, well, what it means to live the second half of your life.
Welcome to the CigarFati book collection by author Ito Cruz, today with more than 35 books dedicated to the world of habanos. So let me ask you something. Could 90 minutes of silence, just you and a little bit of smoke, actually reveal the secrets to a well-lived life? I know, it's a pretty bold question, right? But that's exactly the journey we're about to go on.
So the guy leading us through this is Dantes Cruz, the narrator of the book, and he's 54 when he has this huge realization. He figures out that the second half of life, it's not about getting more stuff, it's about understanding more. It demands a whole different kind of wisdom, the kind you just can't find by climbing the corporate ladder or packing your schedule.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Dantes decides to take this simple pleasure, smoking a cigar, and turn it into something profound, a real practice. He realizes that for years, he'd been using cigars to kind of check out, to escape the world. But now, he's going to use them to be completely present in it. It sounds like a small change, but believe me, it's a revolutionary one. So how does he do it? He sets up this incredible, year-long project for himself. Every Sunday, for a whole year, he sits down with one of the world's 10 best Cuban cigars. And each smoke is dedicated to tackling one of the 10 biggest things men worry about after they hit 50. We're not talking about just idly puffing and thinking here. This is a serious, dedicated ritual.
Okay, so you might be wondering, how did he actually structure this? I mean, he didn't just light up and hope for the best. No, what he did was, honestly, kind of brilliant. He created this powerful framework that uses the cigar itself as a roadmap for his mind.
He calls it the 3/3, and the idea is just fantastic. He realized that the physical experience of smoking a cigar, how it changes from the first light all the way to the end, is a perfect metaphor for the mental journey of tackling a really complex question.
Here's how it breaks down. The first third of the cigar, when the flavors are just starting to open up, that's when he introduces the big question or concern. Then comes the second third, where the flavors get deeper, more complex. That's his time to really dig in with some brutal honesty. And finally, the third third. The flavors are at their peak, they're intense, and that's when he searches for a resolution, for that piece of wisdom you can only get from real, focused thinking.
So, does it actually work? Let's look at a couple of really powerful examples from his year of Sundays and see what kind of insights he actually came away with.
First up, a big one. He tackles health and mortality. Yeah, that undeniable fact that we're not going to be around forever. It's something most of us, let's be honest, try not to think about too much. But Dantes, he decides to face it head on.
And for this one, he pulls out a legendary cigar, the Cohiba Behik 52. And get this, it costs 400 euros. That's not just some random detail. A 400 euro cigar for a 90-minute session? That's a serious investment. It really adds weight to the whole experience,
So what's the big takeaway? It's pretty profound. He thinks about his father, who lived this very cautious life and, well, died without many stories to tell. Dantes realizes that's not for him. He decides he'd rather have a life of intensity, of real depth, than just a long life of playing it safe. It's about the quality of the experience, not just the quantity of years.
All right, lesson number 2, purpose, and specifically that creeping feeling of irrelevance. That feeling you can get when the job title that defined you for 30, 40 years starts to fade into the background. What's next?
Through this ritual, he totally redefines what purpose even means to him. He looks back and sees he spent his whole life chasing external stuff. The job title, the money, what other people thought of him. Now, he makes a conscious choice to turn inward. His new purpose becomes mastering his own inner world, his own conscious experience.
And the conclusion he comes to is just beautiful. He realizes that purpose doesn't have to be some huge world-changing thing. It can be small. It can be personal. It can be as simple as being fully present in a single meaningful moment. The only person he needs to be relevant to is himself.
So what's the takeaway for the rest of us? I mean, most of us aren't smoking 400 euro cigars on a Sunday. But the wisdom that comes out of this, it's for everyone. It's totally universal.
Let's boil this whole journey down to a few key ideas. First, the second half of life is designed for depth, not just for more time. Second, and this is crucial, wisdom isn't something that just happens to you as you get older. You have to actively distill it from your experiences. And that leads to maybe the most powerful point. Any conscious ritual, no matter how small, can turn an ordinary moment into something extraordinary. Because in the end, The quality of your attention, that's what dictates the quality of your life.
And that brings us right back to you. Look, it doesn't have to be a cigar, right? It could be your morning coffee, a walk in the park, listening to an album from start to finish without distractions. But the big question this book leaves hanging in the air is this. Your time is limited. We all know that. So what ritual are you going to create to live your life fully?
If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something new, subscribe to the channel because we are just getting started. And remember that you can now enjoy the complete collection of author Ido Cruz on Amazon Book, today with more than 35 books dedicated to the world of habaneros.